Imagine meeting someone who spent the last 20 years building wealth. He owns a beautiful home, his investments are growing, his bank account is bigger than he ever imagined when he was struggling in his 20s. So you ask him a simple question. Looking back, what's the biggest money mistake you made? You expect him to say he invested in the wrong stock, or bought Bitcoin too late, or didn't save enough. But that's almost never what happens. Instead, he'll tell you about the luxury SUV he barely drove, the giant house with rooms nobody ever used, the expensive watch that impressed strangers for about 5 minutes, the gadgets that lost half their value before the excitement even wore off. Then ask him another question. What's something you never regretted spending money on? And suddenly, the answers become surprisingly boring. A better mattress, a comfortable office chair, healthy food, hiring a cleaner, learning a new skill, spending more time with family. None of those purchases look impressive on Instagram, but every single one quietly improved his life for years. And that's when you realize something. Money isn't supposed to sit in your bank account. It's supposed to improve your life. The richest people don't spend differently because they have more money. They spend differently because they finally understand which purchases keep paying them back long after they've been made. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 10 upgrades that give you the biggest return once you start making real money. Not because they'll impress other people, but because they'll make your life healthier, happier, and more valuable for years to come. Buy back your time. There's one thing every successful person eventually realizes. Your goal isn't just to make more money, it's to stop selling every hour of your life. Think back to when you were broke. You probably cleaned your own house, mowed your own lawn, spent Saturday morning shopping for groceries, meal prepped every Sunday, did your own laundry. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with that. When you're starting out, trading your time for money is simply part of the journey. But once your income begins to grow, something changes. The question is no longer, can I do this myself? It's, is this still the best use of my time?
The average person spends between 4 and 5 hours every week cleaning their home. Over the course of a year, that's well over 230 hours. Add grocery shopping, cooking, yard work, laundry, and all the little household jobs nobody ever talks about, and suddenly you're giving away hundreds of hours every single year. Now, imagine investing even half of those hours into your career, a side business, learning a valuable skill, improving your health, or simply getting enough rest to perform better the next day. The return isn't just financial, it's life-changing.
Here's a simple calculation I wish more people knew. Take your annual income and divide it by the number of hours you work each year. If you earn $80,000 and work roughly 2,000 hours, your effective hourly rate is about $40 an hour. Now, imagine hiring a cleaner for less than that. It might feel like spending money, but in reality, you're buying back time you can never get back.
Of course, this only works if you use those extra hours wisely. If buying back time simply turns into more scrolling on your phone or binge-watching another series, you've gained convenience, but not progress. But if those hours become family dinners, a workout, a new certification, a growing business, or even just a full night's sleep, that one decision keeps paying you back for years. Because the wealthiest people don't just protect their money, they protect their time. And once you understand that, the next question becomes even more important. What should you do with all that extra time? Because if your answer is work even more, you've completely missed the point. That's where the second upgrade changes everything. It isn't really for you, it's for the people waiting for you at home. 2. Convenience for your family. Here's something that took me far too long to understand. Most people think making more money automatically gives you a better family life. It doesn't. In fact, for a lot of people, the opposite happens. The promotion comes with longer hours. The business grows. The responsibilities pile up. Before you know it, you're providing more than ever, but somehow you're around less than ever. You tell yourself you're doing it for your family, but your family doesn't experience your intentions. They experience your presence. One comment I read recently has stayed with me ever since. A man said he had just made $96,000 in a single month. You'd think that would be the moment he remembered forever.
It wasn't. The moment that brought him to tears was seeing his entire family sitting around one dinner table after everything they had survived together. That was the memory money couldn't replace. And I think that's something many of us forget. Money doesn't create relationships. It removes the stress that gets in the way of them. Sometimes the best investment isn't another stock. It's ordering dinner after an exhausting week instead of arguing over who's going to cook. It's hiring a cleaner so Saturday becomes family day instead of chore day. It's paying someone to mow the lawn so you can watch your son's soccer game. It's taking your wife out on a date without checking your bank account every 5 minutes. It's helping your parents with something they've quietly struggled to afford because they've spent decades helping you. These purchases don't make you look wealthy. They make your life feel wealthier.
There's a reason so many people reach retirement with plenty of money, but so many regrets. They spent years building a future they forgot to enjoy. The greatest luxury isn't driving a more expensive car, wearing a nicer watch, or owning a bigger house. It's coming home with enough time, energy, and peace of mind to enjoy the people you worked so hard for in the first place. Because one day, your children won't remember how many hours you worked. They'll remember whether you were there. And that's exactly why the next upgrade is so important. Because if you don't protect your own energy, eventually you won't have anything left to give the people you love. That's why the next investment isn't in your home. It's in your sleep.
Now, think about that for a second. Imagine trying to negotiate your salary, run a business, manage investments, or make important financial decisions while your brain is operating like you've had too much to drink. Yet millions of people do exactly that every single day because they're chronically sleep deprived. One of the most powerful comments I came across said, "Lack of sleep has been my greatest obstacle affecting my financial growth. It affected my mood, my brain, and led me to make poor financial decisions almost every day." That isn't just about feeling tired. That's about reducing your ability to build wealth. The good news is that better sleep usually doesn't require changing your entire life. Sometimes it starts with changing your bedroom, a quality mattress, a supportive pillow, blackout curtains, a cooler room, reducing noise. These aren't luxury purchases. They're investments in the person making every decision tomorrow morning. Price it another way. A $2,000 mattress that lasts 8 years costs less than 70 cents a night. That's cheaper than almost every drink you buy without thinking. Yet that single purchase affects your energy, your focus, your health, your patience, your productivity, and even your relationships every single day. Because when you're well rested, you're not just a healthier person. You're a better parent, a better partner, a better leader, and a much better decision maker. Sleep isn't time lost. It's the foundation that makes every waking hour more valuable. And once you've taken care of your sleep, there's another upgrade that quietly determines how long you'll actually get to enjoy the wealth you're building: your health.
4. Upgrade your health. If I asked you to name your most valuable asset, what would you say? Your business, your investments, your house? The truth is, none of those things make you money by themselves. You do. Your body and your mind are the engine behind every dollar you'll ever earn. And yet, they're usually the last things people invest in. It's strange when you think about it. People will happily spend thousands upgrading their car, but hesitate to spend a little more on food they'll put into the body that has to carry them through the next 40 years. One comment really stood out to me. Someone wrote, "I think most illnesses are connected to what we eat, but most people don't realize it until it's too late." Whether that's entirely true or not, the lesson is hard to ignore. Most of us don't wake up one morning with serious health problems.
Here's how I think about it. Imagine owning a machine that printed money every single day. You'd maintain it, you'd protect it, you'd never deliberately damage it. Well, that machine is you. Every promotion, every investment, every business idea, every opportunity you'll ever have depends on one thing staying in good condition: your health. Because the wealthiest people aren't just trying to live longer, they're trying to stay healthy enough to enjoy the life they've spent decades building. And if you spend thousands of hours working every year, there's one more upgrade that quietly affects your health, your productivity, and even your earning potential: the place where you work. 5. Upgrade your workspace. If you work at a desk for 8 hours a day, let me ask you a simple question. Why are you willing to spend thousands upgrading your phone, but not the place where you spend over 2,000 hours every year? It's one of the strangest financial decisions people make. We'll spend weeks researching the next car we want to buy, but when it comes to the chair we sit in every single day, we grab the cheapest one we can find and hope for the best. A lot of people don't realize this until their body forces them to. One comment summed it up perfectly. For people working from home, it's not just a proper display. A good keyboard, mouse, desk, and chair make all the difference. They're things we use for thousands of hours, yet most of us never invest in making that experience better. That's exactly right. Your workspace isn't just where you work, it's where you create your income. If your back hurts after 2 hours, your wrists ache by lunchtime, your neck feels stiff every evening, or you're constantly distracted because your setup is uncomfortable, you're paying for that cheap equipment every single day. Not with money, with productivity. One of my favorite ideas is something called cost per use. Let's say you spend $500 on a high-quality ergonomic chair. Sounds expensive, but if you use it 5 days a week for the next 5 years, that's well over 10,000 hours of sitting. Suddenly, that chair costs just a few cents per hour. The same goes for a quality desk, a comfortable keyboard, a responsive mouse, a monitor that's easy on your eyes, or even proper lighting that reduces eye strain during long work sessions. These aren't luxury purchases, they're productivity tools. In fact, one person shared that they bought a $350 office chair 3 years ago. It was the first chair they'd ever owned that didn't loosen, wobble, or need constant adjustments. As they put it, it just works. Sometimes the best upgrade isn't the flashiest one. It's the one you stop thinking about because it quietly makes every single workday better. Because when your workspace supports you instead of fighting against you, you don't just work more comfortably, you work better. And the next upgrade might be the highest return investment you'll ever make: investing in yourself. 6. Upgrade your skills. There's one investment that can never be taken away from you. Not by a recession, not by inflation, not by a market crash. And that's the knowledge and skills you carry in your own head. Think about it.
If someone became a millionaire but lost every dollar they had tomorrow, what would happen? Most people imagine they'd be back where they started. In reality, many of them would build their wealth again. Why? Because the money wasn't their greatest asset. Their skills were.
One of the biggest flaws in traditional education is that it prepares you to earn a living, but it doesn't always teach you how to increase your value. You'll spend years learning subjects you'll never use again, yet almost no time learning how to negotiate your salary, sell an idea, manage money, or build a business. That's why one mentor can completely change the direction of your life. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation with someone who's already living the life you want. They help you see opportunities you didn't even know existed. Today, finding mentors is easier than ever. Some of the smartest entrepreneurs, investors, and business owners in the world freely share decades of experience through books, podcasts, YouTube videos, and online communities. The challenge isn't access to information anymore, it's choosing to act on it. And if you're wondering where to start, focus on learning a skill that creates value for other people. That could be video editing, copywriting, graphic design, sales, programming, AI automation, digital marketing, or any skill that helps businesses solve expensive problems. Here's a simple question I always ask. If someone paid you twice your current income tomorrow, what new skill would they expect you to have? That's probably the skill you should start learning today, because every new skill increases your earning potential for years, not just your next paycheck. Unlike a new phone, a designer watch, or an expensive car, skills don't depreciate, they compound. The more you learn, the more opportunities you notice, the more confident you become, and the more valuable you are to the marketplace. The highest return on investment you'll ever earn probably won't come from the stock market. It will come from becoming the kind of person the market is willing to pay more for. But here's the mistake many people make after they start earning more. They begin buying more instead of buying better. And that small difference quietly costs them thousands of dollars over a lifetime.
7. Upgrade quality, not quantity. One of the biggest financial lessons I've ever learned can be summed up in 6 simple words. Buy cheap, buy twice. At first, spending less feels like you're saving money, but over time, cheap products have a habit of becoming the most expensive ones you ever buy. Think about how many times you've replaced a pair of cheap shoes because the soles wore out, or bought another office chair because the first one started squeaking, wobbling, or falling apart after a few months, or replaced a budget suitcase, backpack, or kitchen appliance that simply wasn't built to last. Now imagine buying one quality version instead. It might cost twice as much up front, but if it lasts 5 or even 10 times longer, you haven't spent more, you've actually spent less. One comment I came across perfectly captured this idea. Someone wrote, "The best upgrades are the ones that last for many years. Choose quality items that cost a bit more but have longevity. It has saved me from buying the same thing again and again." Another person shared how they bought a $350 office chair, originally priced at $500, over 3 years ago. They said it was the first chair they'd ever owned that never needed tightening or repairing. It just works. I love that phrase, because that's exactly what quality feels like. It quietly does its job every single day without demanding your attention. Here's a rule that served me well. If you use something almost every day, don't ask, "What's the cheapest option?" Ask, "What's the best value over the next 10 years? That includes your shoes, your mattress, your work tools, your luggage, even the cookware you use every night. These aren't impulse purchases. They're long-term investments in your comfort, your productivity, and your peace of mind. The wealthy don't necessarily spend more, they spend less often. Instead of filling their homes with things they'll replace next year, they buy fewer things that they'll still be using a decade from now. Because the smartest purchase isn't the one with the lowest price tag, it's the one you only have to buy once. And once you've stopped wasting money replacing the same things over and over again, the next step is making sure every dollar you keep is working as hard as you do.